Well, our reporter Luke Shrago is covering this story today. He's at the National Assembly and he joins me on the programme. Luke, I did say this bill is likely to pass today, but we mustn't forget it does have significant opposition, particularly on the right of politics.
That's right. You cannot underestimate just how controversial this bill really is. A very controversial reform. It's been called the biggest social reform since the passing of gay marriage back in 2013. Its own author called it a marathon with hurdles that they've been trying to get through now. And you're correct in saying that in the broad strokes there is support on the left and a lot of opposition on the right wing. The Senate itself, dominated by the right wing, has rejected it 3 times. A host of professional, religious associations for the handicapped, for example, all standing against it. Now, for everyone, it's a matter of protection, but the question is how the word protection is applied. For those in support of the bill, it's a matter of protecting their dignity, their bodily autonomy in an awful situation of unbearable and unrelievable pain, giving them the autonomy to make a decision whether or not to end their lives on their own terms. For the right wing, however, they find it almost anathema. They believe that it should be a matter of palliative care, that people would be rendered vulnerable to this without support that they could possibly get elsewhere, that they'll be pushed into a position potentially of maybe opting for suicide. Now, Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu, he's not blind to all of this opposition, despite it being a flagship reform of Emmanuel Macron's second term. He understands that the lower house of parliament here has the final say, but in sending it to the Constitutional Council, it's a concession to the Senate, which is dominated, as I said, by the right wing. They are only a few months away from serious debates over the budget. We all remember how difficult it's been for the budget to get passed, and they will have at least a month to decide on whether or not the bill complies with the Constitution of France, and if so, it'll enter into force once that review is complete.
And Luke, I know you this afternoon have actually managed to speak to the author of this bill on assisted dying. That's the mayor of La Rochelle. Tell us a bit about what they've had to say today.
Olivier Falorni has been fighting for this for the last 14 years. He understands how difficult it really is to get social reform passed in France. He told me that it felt like he was going in circles. The government dissolution cost them at least a year, with repeated governments coming in after Emmanuel Macron dissolved Parliament. That cost them at least a year, according to Mr. Falorni. But that dying people, they didn't have the time to wait. He understands that no one is truly ever happy with any kind of bill. The perfect bill doesn't actually exist, but what they really need is to get something passed that will respond to the maximum number of situations possible. It's about protecting what he told me was an intimate choice within the framework of the law, and protecting the dignity of those in pain, that what the law is meant to protect, and respond to the largest number possible of cases of people in this situation.